Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Life is Limitless podcast. My name is Cody Demerais, and I am your host. And today I have a mutual friend, fellow speaker, Mr. John Westhaver. John is a safety resilience expert who has spent more than 20 years and over 850 presentations helping people move from surviving to actually thriving. At 18, John survived a car crash that killed 3 of his friends and left him with burns over 75% of his body. He woke from a month-long coma and had to rebuild everything. Out of that and everything since, he built a framework called Learn, Heal, Grow. It's a path he tested on his own life for over 30 years and one he's still living inside today as he and his wife navigate her stage 4 cancer. John's work is simple to say and hard to do. Uncover the beliefs that are quietly ruining you, heal what put them there, and grow the new patterns that let you thrive. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. John Westhaver. John, really appreciate your time, your patience, and your ability to jump on having a podcast episode with me this morning. I know we only chatted yesterday, so for those who are going to be listening to this, me and John made it happen within 24 hours of talking to each other. John, thank you so much, buddy. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, Cody, thanks for inviting me. This is it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to share my story with your audience. It's a pleasure to connect with you. This is our first time connecting, so a lot of this conversation is going to be fun for me. I love these interactions because it's genuine and authentic, and not to say that a lot of stuff I'm doing is not, but it's just this is the discovery of a new relationship.
Yes, that's very true. That's very true. So, yeah, we've messaged, we've emailed a couple times here and there, back and forth, but nothing, one-on-one like this with face-to-face, voice to voice. And so I'm looking forward to getting to know you. And the best thing about this is, as well, it's going to be recorded. So those who are in, the audience of the podcast get to know you as well too, John. So I'm looking forward to it, buddy.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah. So, John, you want to maybe start off by sharing a little bit of your background? Part of your introduction, of course, is, you chat about the car crash. And, of course, it's a pretty intense place to start. But, quite frankly, I believe a lot of people will get right into things by hearing your perspective from that background a little bit.
Yeah. So April 29th, 1994, like 32 years ago, a long time ago, I was involved in a fatal car crash at the age of 18. Senior year in high school, me and 3 of my friends decided to go on a road trip, 2 being my classmates and 1 being a classmate that had already graduated the year before. And we were just teenage boys in a small town, Canada. And thinking, hey, we're going to go out on a Friday night, have fun, doing what we always did. Always out partying, having fun, but we had a sober driver. We were being responsible, we thought. We were told in school not to drink and drive, because if you drink and drive, you're going to kill somebody. And I grew up with a father that had often drank and drove with us in the car, and I remember how scary it used to be. So growing up, we were conditioned not to drink and drive, to always wear a seatbelt, and we were never told to slow down and drive the speed limit. We watched the movies growing up. The fast guy wins the race, gets the accolades, gets the girl, gets the life, gets all the celebration. And what does the loser get? He gets dirt in his face, gets made fun of, and all this other stuff. So we were conditioned to drive fast. We were teenage boys. We loved driving fast. And our belief was, it's okay to drive fast. Nothing's going to happen. We'd never been in a crash before. And so April 29th, 1994, we had a sober driver. Jimmy was driving. He was our classmate, 17 years old, typical teenage kid, had his own car, was driving us too fast. Even though he was sober, we thought we were being responsible. Our belief was it's okay to drive fast because he's sober. But he came upon a corner that was too sharp, lost control of the car, skidded out of control, hit the ditch road several times. Jimmy, who was a guy who was my size, 250-ish pounds, 6'2", was ejected with such force that when he hit the pavement, he was killed instantly. The car rolled several times, had a telephone pole burst into flames, and my best friend Jason and our friend Aaron were trapped in the back seat, and that car had exploded in a massive ball of fire. I somehow managed to crawl out the window, get out of the car, and I was standing beside that burning wreck, and that car exploded. Massive ball of fire, and Jason and Aaron were killed. Witnesses and bystanders were unable to pull them out of that burning wreck. Myself, I managed to get out, and I'm standing beside that burning wreck, and I had someone help me. He ran down and he grabbed me, and he tried to put the fire out. He put his jacket over me. It didn't work, so he got me on the ground, got the fire out, and then there was a nurse on scene that lived nearby. She came to help out, and this one incident didn't just impact me. It didn't just impact our friends. Like, this impacted our whole community. When I say impacted, like, this destroyed a lot of people's lives. Like, people in that moment, people's lives were forever changed.
Yeah.
Like, Jason's family, Aaron's family, and Jimmy's family, and my family were forever changed in that moment. Because we were speeding. We were youthful boys thinking nothing could go wrong. We were drinking in the car, having fun, but our driver is sober. We thought, our belief was nothing's going to happen because we got a sober driver. I was taken to the local hospital in St. Stephen, New Brunswick, where they prepared me to be transported to a burn unit in St. John, New Brunswick. This all happened in New Brunswick between St. Stephen and Fredericton on the Highway 3. And so I grew up in St. Stephen, New Brunswick, and I was transported to the burn unit in St. John, New Brunswick. And I was induced to a medically induced coma because my burns, I burned 75% of my body. And 50% of my body was 3rd and 4th degree burns. And because of the extent of my burns, they didn't expect me to survive. And so they put me in a medically induced coma. And they told my parents, like, he's not going to survive. If he survives the next 24 to 48 hours, he won't make it through the next, week. He's in a lot of pain. So what we'll do is we'll put him in a drug-induced state so he doesn't experience the pain, and we'll let him pass easily. And that's what they did. They put me in a drug-induced state to stabilize me. Before they did any surgeries on the grafting and stuff like that there, I needed to stabilize. And if I was going to pass, I was going to pass in that moment of time. They can do everything they can to save me, but their understanding is if he's going to pass, he's going to pass in that time frame. Because your body shuts down. Like, it takes so much resources, to heal from that, to recover from that. My lungs, my liver, my kidneys would fail. Apparently, I flatlined 3 times on the operating table. Like, my body had been brutally impacted and destroyed. And so they put me in this drug-induced state for a month. And when I woke up not knowing of the crash, not knowing of the 3 boys that were killed. My best friend being Jason. I actually don't recall any part of the crash. I don't remember any part of the trip to the hospital in St. Stephen. I don't remember any part of the trip to the burn unit in St. John, or the next month as in a medically induced coma. I was coherent the whole time, but I don't recall those memories. And your brain goes into this protective mode, and it shelters you from those memories because the trauma was so extreme. And as I'm told, as I work through therapy and stuff, I'll get some of those memories back, but I'm okay not to have those memories. I don't have nightmares. I'm okay with that.
I can understand that.
But yeah, so this I woke up to this nightmare situation that no teenager should ever have to experience. I was not prepared, and I was lucky to have a lot of support from my family, my friends, my community. My parents were there, my brothers and sisters were there. Even Jason's mom came to visit me in the hospital. A lot of the community, like some of my classmates would come visit me in the hospital. I had my graduation in the hospital. And it was that support that I had in a small town that helped me get through this initial life change.
Yeah.
And there was often times when I didn't want to deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be having to deal with the bandage changes every day. Like, I had bandage changed every day for like 6 months. Every single day I had to have a bandage changed.
Was that a couple times in a day or just one
So
major change?
initially it was twice a day. Because
Mm-hmm.
of the burns, they were so extensive. They were sometimes twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got to when I left the hospital after 2.5 months, I went home and had a home care. And sometimes it was twice a day. I go down to once a day, and then I go down to every other day, and then 2 times a week, and I go to the hospital once or twice a week. And then I had to drive to St. John for physiotherapy and occupational therapy and doctor's appointments 2 times a week, 3 times a week sometimes. And it was a taxing resource on not just me but my family.
Yeah.
My mom and dad put everything down to support me. My brothers and sisters supported me through this whole journey. And so it wasn't just me that went through this. It was my whole family. And so and when I recovered from this, with the support of my family, my community, and everybody that showed up for me, I ended up moving to Victoria, BC, where I live now, from St. Stephen, New Brunswick. And I got involved with the peer support group for burn survivors to help out and make a difference with other burn survivors. I got involved in speaking with the Insurance Corporation of BC. The Firefighter Burn Fund of Victoria, BC has been a huge sponsor ever since I started. They saw something in me that was worth and supporting. And so they've been a huge financial sponsor of the work that I do. I could not do this without them. And I started working with ICBC, which is the Insurance Corporation of BC, and doing talks on road safety, and have evolved to where I am today, where I speak on safety, resilience, and mental health and well-being. And the goal is to, one, prevent injuries, prevent incidents from happening, whether it be a car crash or a workplace incident or a mental health breakdown. 2 is to help people heal and then grow and thrive.
Yeah.
That's the whole mission of what I'm up to now. My wife was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, and we're on that healing journey right now. And the goal is to help other people, heal with what they're suffering from. And it's not just physical. Like when people see me, and I think it's one of the reasons why I get to be such a big impact on people, is when people see me, they can see I physically went through something horrific, and I'm still showing up, and I'm still living life. I'm still out there doing things. I'm not per se turtling. When I say turtling, I mean like going in my shell and not, not doing and participating in life. And so when I show up the way I show up, it gives people permission to start to see what are they dealing with, what can they work through. And I love talking about mental health and well-being because it's something that is very taboo right now. Even though we have a lot of different programs and speakers talking about mental health and well-being, our own view, until our own view on that specific topic changes, our belief changes around mental health, our actions, our behavior and actions will not shift. So we have to see that it's okay to talk about this. It's okay to share. Hey, some days I'm not okay.
Yeah.
Some days I'm not feeling up to it. Some days, you know what? I don't want to talk to anybody. And some days it's like, hey, let's go. Today's a great day to have a great day.
Yeah.
As cliche and motivational as that is, that's what it's about. Like having fun. Like I am working through this rebrand that I'm doing, and my calendar is not as full as I want it to be.
Yeah.
To be honest, and it's taking something to move this, but I know that it takes a lot of effort to put into the business to grow the business and grow my speaking and what I'm up to. But I know that that's training development for myself, because this is a new opportunity for me to learn and grow. The same as with my wife Hanley. This is an opportunity to learn and grow. What is the teaching element in this opportunity, and what can I learn from this?
Well, I think that's a great perspective, my man. Thank you so much for being real and raw and authentic on all of that, for sure. I don't know if you've seen my eyes or if those who are listening on audio, but I was definitely, as soon as you started sharing your story about the car crash, I was getting a little teary-eyed and emotional myself on this end, man. Because that was real, right? It happened.
So tell me, let's get real for a second, because this is what's going to make a difference for your audience. What was it? What did you connect with? What brought that tear to your eye? Talk about that.
Oh, brother. Well, thanks for turning that switch on me.
The laughter is good. The laughter is good because it's like it's your defense. But what was that moment? Give yourself permission to be authentic and raw for a second. And it's okay to shed a tear.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, John. Truly, man. So I didn't know that was your background, personally. And my background was, me and one of my best friends back in the day as well, a week before grade 12 started, was in a bad car crash. And see, the difference is what really struck a chord was that, you had a sober driver, of course, and everyone thinks a car crash comes from somebody who's intoxicated, right? But you had a sober driver who was just driving fast. And you guys, had that incident. And so on our end, me and my friend, I was driving, but I was heavily intoxicated. And so, of course, we hit a tree going about 112, 116. So I was also driving very fast, unfortunately. And I remember waking up to my best friend, being knocked out on the dash from the windshield. And for those who are going to listen to this podcast, many of you know that background of us, me and my friend. But I think it was just a little PTSD of where I used to be. I remember in the hospital visits, remembering how dark I felt after that crash, and just remembering how much of a nightmare that was to live through.
Say more about that.
Yeah. Hey?
Say more about that.
Well, the nightmare...
What was the dark days? What was the one thing that just hit you hard?
The hope that it was never going to go away. Or that I lost the hope that anything was never going to get better again. And so part of my story, of course, is while my friend was in a coma, like yourself, I think that resonated as well, too. He was in a coma for about 3.5 weeks or so, in an induced coma. And during that time, unfortunately, I tried to take my life out of PTSD, guilt, just not feeling like he was going to wake up, because also on the other side of things, there was medical professionals and doctors and such saying that he wasn't going to wake up from his coma, and if he did, he wasn't going to be the same person. So that's why, parts of a lot of your story resonate for sure. And I understand the importance of having community behind you, because somebody who goes through those kind of situations in life, if you don't have people beside you, with you, behind you, help and support you in many different ways, many different obstacles, it's going to be a very tough barrier, very tough obstacles to get past by yourself. And I think that's an extreme importance of having community. And you touched, nail on the head, that you came from a small town with a lot of people with big hearts that were there to support you. And I'm so thankful that you had that, And quite frankly, if I didn't have that too at many different places and those nightmares that I lived through myself, I don't know if I'd still be here with you, John. And, it sounds like that community that you had was very integral as well for you to be here as well with us. So I'll be honest, John, when I messaged you yesterday, I wasn't knowing that this is going to be the path that we took together today. Yeah. But I absolutely love that you want to take that moment and reflect and turn it around and say, why did that hit you so hard? Because that's a deep, powerful way to connect with a human being. And not everyone does that.
Yeah, and that's who I am. I am the face of getting real. For a second. As much as I love to joke around and carry on and listen to loud music and have fun, and I love taking the moment to get real. Oftentimes I try to be, when I come online and do all these videos and stuff, I have a tendency, the logic part of my brain says, be serious about these things and do things right and come across really professional, and it's what I think people want to hear.
Yeah.
But it's not what moves the needle. It's what moves the needle is when I get real and raw.
Yeah.
And I share authentically and I connect with people. And I love to ask questions because I have a lot of trauma support and a lot of working in that space and training and development. I know how to bring you into that space, but also help you navigate out of that space. So you're not left in that space. A lot of times when we navigate into that space, some people don't know how to navigate out of that or help their people out of that space.
Yeah.
And the goal is to help, if you're going to go into that space, and when I mean space, I mean the emotional wounds that we hide away from.
Yeah.
We need to be able to bring them out of that, And so what I know to be true for myself and how the brain works is everything that happened in our past is a story that's happened in our past, but it stirs real lived experiences in our minds. Mm-hmm. It's not happening in this moment, but we have a lot of judgment, a lot of assessment on who we are in this moment, and it can consume us and how we move through this moment and navigate this moment. And PTSD, bring up PTSD, and that's why I'm sharing this, is because a lot of times we have moments of PTSD and understanding that there was a trigger that brought on that memory, and that once that memory was activated, we have a real visceral sensation in our body that says, oh shit, this is real. This is like, I remember, I have so much guilt, I have so much shame. And everything you felt and experienced back then is right now.
Yeah. Yep.
What I want you to understand, and your viewers to understand, is that's not happening right now.
Yeah.
I want you to look around your room right now. Just look for 5 different things. What are 5 different things in my room that I can look at? That's real. That's real. This red book is real. This red book is real, right? This phone is real, right? Nothing that I think is happening is actually happening. And your brain tries to forecast a future based on this past experience. And it tries to navigate this future in the present moment, so it responds. And it does this so fast. So fast. But what you need to understand is your brain lies to you. It tries to protect you. It says, let's do the worst case scenario because we know if we can survive the worst case scenario, we can survive anything.
Yeah, it's a trauma response for sure.
Yeah, we're wired. We're hardwired. Human beings hardwired to survive. Yeah. If I can survive the worst case scenario, I can survive anything.
That's right.
So let's play out the worst case scenario and survive that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So if we can calm our nervous system, regulate our nervous system, we can become present. Mm-hmm. Okay. Thinking logically, bringing our prefrontal cortex back online. Okay, now I'm thinking my system's regulated, I'm breathing. I'm not in a state of fear. What do I want to do? How do I want to move through this? What's the future I want to create? And what are the actions that are going to create that future manifesting in reality? So actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take those actions. Same for as when I have a calendar that's not as full as I want it to be. You know, there's a fear. I'm not going to make as much money. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. Like, I'm not worthy and all this stuff here. Nobody's, ringing my phone sort of thing. That's all fear-based.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I know how to build, a tour. I know how to, reach out to clients. I know how to do these things, but it takes action.
Yeah.
And so nothing moves without action.
Yeah.
And so when I let go of the fear, when I let go of all this stuff, I know how to take the actions that will result in the bookings that I want to book or whatever I want to have happen.
Yeah. There's a book that a friend of mine a few years ago recommended to me. It's called The War of Art. So it's not the old ancient one about the philosophy of actual war, but there's a different book. I'm not sure the author's name right now, but War of Art. It talked about how you put the time and energy into your beautiful art. And that is you giving time and energy to the muse of what you want to create and what you want to move and function. And with enough time and energy, your art comes to you, right? Like the powers that, inspire you, motivate you, the connections, the phone calls, the people, the emails, right? Those come to you when you put in the time to your muse of what you want to manifest, right? What you want to achieve. And, as a one fellow speaker to another, I'm in the same boat, brother. Right. So it's summertime and I don't do very well when it's calmer and quiet. And I've made injuries in the past, fallen off ladders, which hasn't been that far long ago when things get slow because I start thinking I have to switch things up. But when you stay calm, you stay present, you maybe just pause for a moment and you reflect on where you are at this time being without making decisions and choices on fear. That's when you have the full realm of human life of experience of doing the right actions next, right? When we make decisions and choices out of fear, it's not normally good situations. And I just went through those myself too. And so just so you know, and I know there's many other speakers right now. Of course, that's because that's who our network is. A lot of our friends, a lot of our associates are other speakers. And summertime is a tough time for that world. But I know for a fact, just from sharing this 27 minutes with you, that your schedule is going to fill up as soon as maybe we just go through, to the other side of vacations and summer holidays for a lot of people, and mine as well too. But man, I think you're an incredible communicator. I think you're an incredible person, human being, and I've only 30 minutes into this conversation, I've absolutely loved this, John. I think a lot of people are going to grab so much education, so much knowledge, so much joy of human connection from this conversation. And I appreciate that, John.
Well, you're welcome. I appreciate it too. And talking about the war of art, the art of war, is it? Or the war?
I think it's the War of Art.
War of Art, okay. What's really cool about that, putting your energy and your passion into what you're creating, your art, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to do a little science on you for a little bit, okay?
Let's do it.
Okay, so neurologically speaking,
Yep.
you're wiring your brain for that outcome. The more you do it, the more energy you put into it, you're wiring your brain for the consistency and manifestation of what you're creating. Right? So you're creating the brain patterns the more you do it. So take, for example, journaling. A lot of people journal for mental health reasons, right?
Yep.
Journaling is great. I bring this up because this is what I journal on, right? That's my digital tablet. Journaling is great for mental health and dealing with mental health issues, like being able to put your feelings and emotions down on the paper. But it doesn't move something forward. It just gets out of your space what's in your mind, right? So journaling is great for calming the noise, but now that the noise is calm, you need to create the actions going forward. So putting in the energy putting in the time, putting in the calls, putting in the emails and the LinkedIn messages to move that forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the more that you do that, the more you're talking about, the more every time I have. So the reason I jumped on this call is because I wanted to talk about what I'm up to. Because when I talk about it, it brings it present and it moves the needle for me and it keeps it fresh.
Yep.
So when you do that, the more you do that, the more you talk about it, the more you create it, the more it becomes real.
Yeah.
And the more it becomes real, the quicker it becomes reality.
Yep.
And so that's neurologically speaking, the more that you do it, the more it becomes real because it's wired into your brain. So when you want to shift a behavior, shift a belief, you got to create that first, then create the actions through habit or something clicking that makes that you do it over and over again, that allows that brain pattern to become your default brain pattern.
Yeah. Well, I love that, buddy. Like, I had one friend of mine once explain to me, we only have such a finite amount of energy, as if like a phone battery has 100%, when it's fully charged. If you spend 80% on one subject, 10% on another, 10% on another, the direction of your path is going to go towards that 80%, right? You're spending the most energy, the most time to something. And with somebody like myself with severe to high ADHD, I'm a person, when I have in the past experienced, when it's calm, quiet, my brain can start going 1,000 miles a minute. Anybody who knows me personally knows, oh, Cody's doing this, which is out of his, regular situations. And I've came to find it's my mind, I allow it to travel one direction, another direction, and experience and try different things and grow from that. But every time what calls me and pulls me back is this journey of the speaking career, this journey of the life that we get to call our professions. And every time I take my chaotic mind and I pull it back and I rein it in and I put it where my heart desires and where I want to be, where I truly, truly love to be. Not only because it supports my family financially, but because I honestly get value for my own life when I do this for people. I look at people's light bulbs go off in their eyes and their heads when I share a message in front of, an audience, whether it's 50 people or 1,000 people. And that light bulb moment is almost like a new drug for me, coming from an addictive personality trait, right? I love the ability to connect with human beings that way. And I no longer struggle with any addictions besides that impact that I want to create with people. And every time I get off track and I go in a different direction because my mind wants to take me in a different route to my life, the speaking slows down and I have to rein myself in and I refocus, I rechannel, and then I put it back towards speaking because that's where I want to be. And then that's when somebody calls me. That's when somebody texts me. That's when somebody emails me. That's when I get to chat with another speaker saying, hey, I recommended you to this group or these clients because they're looking for exactly what you offer. And that inertia, that energy in the world is so powerful. And you're explaining it to a T. And it's incredible because the truth is, I think that's with everything in life. Anytime somebody has art to share with this world, it comes down to the energy that you put into something.
Yeah, I love it. I love that way of looking at it. And I love that you're able to rein yourself in. And you're able to have that self-awareness that says, hey, look, I need to refocus here. This is my mission. This is where I want to put my energy. And a lot of people don't have that internal discipline to stop it. And so kudos to you for being that space for other people to say, hey, this is, I see you. I get it, That's super awesome. Love it.
Well, and I love where you're at as well, too. It might not be a full calendar at this time being, but when I texted you, messaged you, you said, I'm putting in the work to get things rolling for the future. You're not doing 1,000 other things, You're focusing. You're putting the time and the energy, what you love doing. And that's incredible, too. And that just goes to show that you've been in the profession for years, right?
Yeah, and it's a cycle. It's a business cycle.
Yeah.
It's summertime. It's slow. Nobody usually, replies to their emails and stuff like that there. But I have a background in sales. I did telesales for years. And so it's one of the jobs I had when I moved to BC is I did telesales for different companies. And I got used to making calls. So I could, if I can get you on the phone, I can usually sell you.
Oh, yeah.
Just a matter of getting people on the phone. Finding the right person to get a hold of is my challenge. But putting the energy into what I'm creating. But what I'm really passionate about right now is as I'm doing more safety, workplace safety, and this framework and resiliency work and mental health work, I'm really seeing the scope of what people are dealing with. The mental health issues that people are dealing with that are not even talking about, that they're ashamed to talk about because they don't want to be seen as weak. And I get that. I have a lot of alpha male energy, and I have a tendency to default to aggression, which is an alpha energy, when I want things done. And it takes a lot to let go of that thought pattern to say there has to be a different way to move the needle.
Yeah.
But saying that, going back to the alpha energy, a lot of times we don't want to share that we're struggling because it shows a sign of weakness. And growing up as an Indigenous person in a non-Indigenous community, I'm mixed race, I'm Indigenous and Caucasian, and I grew up in a small town, in rural New Brunswick, and there wasn't a lot of Indigenous people. And I knew growing up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, if you were anything other than the white popular kid, you were teased and bullied and made fun of. My whole family, we were all teased and bullied. Some experienced it more than others, and growing up, being teased and bullied was the training ground for me to see that I needed to be tough and I needed to not show weakness. Now I'm in the training ground of letting go of that old belief.
Yeah.
Because what I needed at 5 years old, 6 years old, 10 years old is not what I need now.
Yeah.
It's created who I am today, and that's great, but what I need now is to be open and share more of my journey. And I haven't done a lot of publicly sharing some of my struggles. Like I share the car crash and things like that there, but I don't share a lot of the actual struggles. And I think that's where my online presence needs to be more of, is sharing more of that journey, the dark days, not being able to go to sleep because I just want someone to be there with me. I want a partner. But I'm ugly, I'm broken, I'm destroyed. No, who's going to love this face? I've got pictures on my desk, actually, right here. I'm going to put up a family face here. I'm a burn survivor. I've got bandages on my head, my hands. I'm crying at night because I was told as a kid I was a fat, ugly kid, an Indigenous kid. Now it's proved in reality. I am the ugly kid, and no one's ever going to want to love me or be there for me. I'm never going to date or marry again. I'm never going to have a family. And that was real for me in that moment. Those thoughts were real.
Yeah.
But over time, I had to let go of those thoughts.
Yeah.
And I had to collect evidence to disprove those lies that I created, that belief. And so when we talk about mental health and well-being in this alpha male energy, it's all for survival. It's all for not showing weakness. And it gets to a certain point until it doesn't. Until we find ourselves drinking all the time, doing drugs or high-risk behavior, putting ourselves at risk, showing up at work late or hungover or drunk or high or whatever it is, just to try to quiet the noise. And when we're in that state, we're not doing our job to our best ability.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to manage our mental state. If I can focus over here into the job, then I can quiet the noise. But then when I get doing my job, my mind drifts. How do I get out of that drift? Now I'm judging and assessing all of the shame from the past, and that's present for me. But having people understand that all that stuff in the noise, all the judgment, all the shame, all the guilt, all the blame, it's just noise.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's just noise.
Well, it can be extremely challenging in the game called life when somebody has a script that they're told over and over again, or that they tell themselves over and over again, to break away from those chains of that script that one has wired their own DNA towards for so long, so many days. It's not only a habit anymore, it's a part of your DNA. So to overcome that habit or those DNA strings in your body is one of the most toughest things a human being can do. But on the other side of it, that is where the exponential growth of your life, your future, your relationships, your friendships, your romantic relationships, your career, your business, your professions, it's where it all comes from, right? No longer living in old scripts. And I've been a person that has struggled with that from time to time, but I've also been a person that has overcame a lot of those old scripts, you know, and yeah, I just, it's funny because every time I see myself saying something, doing something, acting something, there's a part of me that asks myself, like internally sometimes, I'm like, am I living an old script right now? Yeah. And when a person lives the old script, your future is going to be the same as your past.
Yeah, you're bringing that back into the present moment. Yep.
Yeah.
And not to discredit anything. Like, my goal is to share with people what's possible, but for anybody to shift anything, they have to see what's actually at play. Yeah. What's running the show, the bus, what's driving the bus. I always say what's driving the bus or running the show.
Yeah.
And it's an old conversation, old script from before. And we need to see that it's not who we actually are.
Mm-hmm.
It's some old conversation that's default. And there is, and it's hard to shift that. And I think what we need to see in reality is, one, we need to see that it's been done before. Other people are doing it. Other people are showing the path forward.
Yep.
And what else needs to be there is support, love and support.
Mm.
They have to feel supported in that journey, because without that support and the self-compassion, those old ways just come in, because that's how we were taught.
Yeah.
That's how we were conditioned to do the hard things. We're conditioned to just do the hard things and, just go through it, when a lot of times what will move the needle is self-compassion and compassion from others.
Mm. Oh, I love that, man. That's very powerful. I couldn't agree with.
What do you hear what's coming to mind for you when I share this?
Well, the part about seeing somebody else do it, or seeing it being done, right? That's a huge thing in my past. I know I'm not the same person in my life as I am right now if I've never watched other people that I admire, that I appreciate, that I enjoy, have done it before me. So when it comes to that mentorship, I think mentorship in any path of life, whether you sell insurance, whether you sell telecommunications, whether you're a speaker, whether you're a contractor, whatever it is, man, like whatever it is, whether you're in healthcare, teaching, young kids or adults, mentorship is one of the most life-changing things a human being can do for themselves and everyone in their ripple effect of life that they can cause. Every single person, I have noticed it has changed my life light years away from where it used to be. Coming in contact with friends and folks and associates, in the speaking world has definitely changed my dynamics of perspectives of what this life looks like. One of my best friends, he just moved to BC, actually, Alan Kaler. You know him very well, I think, right? Yeah. So when I first met him, that was about 4 or 5 years ago. And I didn't even know what a professional speaker was back then, right? And so that changed my perspective of what is possible. Then I spoke at the same conference for a staff kind of empowerment conference for an Indigenous group here in Saskatchewan. And Joe Roberts was the other fellow speaker, the Skid Row CEO.
Yeah.
And that was another person that changed my whole perspective of what a speaker could actually do in this world. And, you know, I just chatted with Joe last night. I'm looking forward to catching up with him soon as well, too. But, man, when you grab different perspectives and different places of where a person has traveled, you know, you find a lot of relations. You find a lot of similar paths, a lot of similar journeys. And, you know, it's like reading any kind of book. Maybe you don't grab 100% of the book that you read, but maybe there's 1% that you grab, you navigate for your own life, and it moves you forward in a different way, like that needle you were saying before. It moves you in a different direction in the right way. And so mentorship, for anybody who's listening to this podcast, is one of the most life-changing things you can ever look for in your own life. Whatever profession, whatever journey you want to take in life, finding a mentor is life-changing. But self-compassion, now that's a same coin, but opposite side, I almost find, right? If you don't have compassion for yourself, you're not going to want to look for those different opportunities, those different pathways, those different journeys that a human being can take or make in their human life of expectancy. You are going to sit in the same place and you're going to be down about your life, or you're not going to look at the life opportunities that you have in front of you, and you're not going to enjoy the life journey that you have going on in your life at this time being, because you don't care for yourself. And self-compassion, every single human being I know can really utilize it, right? To love yourself, to also know thyself, are extremely important tools. And I feel
and it's also about calming the noise, though, too. The self-compassion about calming the noise and your mind. It's when you get fearful, and that neurological feedback loop is running in your brain, and you're getting worried and you're stressed out, and you know you're bumping up against the same problem. You're trying to get the same result, doing the same action, and you think, if I just power through, if I just do this long enough, if I just bang my head on the wall long enough, I'll get through this, I'll figure it out. When what will move the needle the most is trying something different. And that's where self-compassion comes into play big time. Whenever I'm struggling with mental health issues, or whenever I'm stressed out, like I've never dealt with depression, major depression. I've had a lot of moments in my life where I've been overwhelmed and stressed and full of anxiety and anxious thinking and things like that there, and anxious feelings and emotions and experiences. But I've never dealt with full-on depression. I don't know what that's like. I've had a lot of support in my journey. I've never had that. And so I can only speak to that much.
Yeah.
But when I know that I'm stressed out about something, and I'm trying to get at something to move, and nothing is working, and I'm so frustrated because I'm not seeing the needle move with all the energy that I'm putting in, what I know to do is be more compassionate with myself. Notice that, hey, my passion is there. I just need to let go of the fear. Let go of all of the judgments, the assessments, and the rumination of what I'm dealing with, and just be more compassionate. You know, embrace myself. And what would my dad say? My dad's no longer with us, and what would he say? He used to say two things, which was great. And I found myself needing to hear those. Like, one is, everything's going to be okay. It's going to work out. And tomorrow's a new day. Those are things he used to say all the time. Tomorrow's a new day, and everything's going to work out.
Oh, I love that.
And when I do that, I take the stress away. Because I know in my heart, in my mind, that the future that I'm creating will manifest. I'm just trying to do it in a shorter amount of time than what I want to have happen. Because what I know is everything that I manifest for myself happens. When I was in a car crash and I didn't see me having life with a family, a beautiful wife and 3 beautiful daughters, I didn't see that. After a certain amount of time, I said, I want that. And I took the actions to have that. I now have a beautiful wife, 3 beautiful daughters, and I live here in Victoria, BC, which is a destination city in Canada. I wanted to make a difference with other people, and I started speaking. And now I've delivered over 850 presentations across Canada, the US, and virtually around the world. I knew that I wanted more out of life, and I wanted to help people more. So I went to work at creating this framework, Learn, Heal, Grow, with 3 simple steps on how to shift from sort of just surviving life and powering through to thriving and helping people deal with their own mental health. This framework is amazing. I want it to be realized in the world faster than what is happening, but I know that it's going to happen, because I'm passionate about it, and I'm not going to let it go. So I know that the things that I set my mind to will happen. The fear comes into place when it's not happening in the time frame I want it to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm committed to working on that at the performance level, and that's just who I am as a person growing.
No, I appreciate that, John, and I think a lot of people truly that are going to listen to this podcast, download it on Spotify, Apple, or watch on YouTube, whatever it is. I think a lot of people will resonate with that, man. Truly.
Yeah, and it's the same to recovery. Like if you're struggling with mental health issues or addiction or whatever it is, one day at a time, one shift at a time.
Yeah.
Get the support you need today, just today, not tomorrow, just today. Figure out what you need today to shift that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, just everything you said here today has just been magnificent. Once again, you're a great communicator. You pick trains of thoughts right out of my head and you speak them into the world. So you're manifesting that right there, John. I know, from a prior experience, for not taking that self-compassion, to maybe overthinking, to reacting too quick, I can speak from a personal experience right now where I didn't do that properly. So, speaking was slowing down, and every year you said it, right? You nailed it on the head. It's a seasonal thing. It slows down a little bit for the summer months. So me knowing this, for being a speaker for the last few years, I started jumping into fear decisions, fear choices. And so what I did was like, maybe I'm going to start a side business, pressure washing, cleaning gutters for people, because I also wanted to work outside. I want to be active. Speaking isn't always the most active kind of profession, right? So I wanted to do this. But then guess what happened? I fell off 2 ladders. I spent over $5,000 buying a trailer, buying a pressure washer, all this stuff, because the fear of me not being able to support my family financially took over. And then before pausing, before reflecting, and also practicing self-compassion, I jumped before doing the proper due diligence with all those things. And so the funny thing is, I still have that trailer, I have the pressure washer, I still have 2 sore ankles because I sprained 2 ankles within a 3-week span of each other. All of that remains. But you know what? I would have been in a better spot in my life if I just paused, took a moment to reflect, practice self-compassion, and maybe just said, okay, this is the part of the season that I'm in right now, right? And that would have saved my heartache physically, mentally, emotionally, and it would have done the same for my wife, my kids, right? To see their dad on a chair with ice packs on both ankles probably was not a beautiful sight, right? But that's the full circle of what we're chatting about here.
Yeah, and it's and what's really cool about this, what you're sharing is understanding that the speaking business, if you have it not be a hobby, it takes a different skill set and development. To develop this, a speech is one skill set. To be able to be on stage and stand and deliver that is another skill set. To run a business in the operations side of things is another skill set. And to do the outreach and the sales and the marketing is another skill set. But yet we're trying to do everything, all ourselves, and understanding that sometimes we don't have the skill set to do this the best. And sometimes we need to outsource that. And so for me, I'm in this space of like, okay, get my business back on track. You know, my wife has been dealing with a cancer journey, and it took a big impact on my life because I took the primary caregiver role on my whole family, and alpha male. I don't ask for help, I just do it all. I got so burnt out. My business got, sidetracked, and I didn't put the energy in my business, and now I'm dealing with that now, having to get my business back on track. It's a different skill set to do that and understand that, when I'm more compassionate with myself, slow down. Understand that, I have to shift here. I have to learn and grow in this area. Once I've learned and grow and move this down the track, then I can hire somebody to do that so I can focus on what I'm up to in the world.
Yeah, which take care of your family, be present, be helpful, whatever you need with your family for sure. May I ask you, John, how long ago did your wife get diagnosed with cancer?
So she was diagnosed last April with stage 4 colon cancer. She'll have this for the rest of her life.
Okay, well,
and
I'm sorry to hear that.
She had a mass at her colon that is now healed, and she's got 3 other spots near her aorta, near her back, that have cancerous activity, and we're on the journey of her actively healing, like her actually healing her body. She'll have this for life. And it's been a big impact on our family. And just navigating that and being the support for her that she needs so that she can navigate her mental space, and also being a space for the kids so that they get what they need. And keep things as normal as possible. And in a chaotic situation, this situation derails so many families. But my cousin is amazing, and she's like, a lot of times when men, and I don't know how true this is, have a wife who's ill, doesn't know how to provide for them, it leaves the marriage sometimes. And for me to stick around and support my family is something big. But I'm like, that's just who I am. I'm going to stick around. I'm here for the long haul. I'm here for the girls. I'm here for my wife. This is the dream that I have manifested since a young age. So, I don't want to let it go.
Most definitely, John. And I'm wishing you guys, you and your family, nothing but the best wishes when it comes to all of that, my man. Truly.
Yeah, and it will work out. It'll work out, and I'm positive about that. So, staying positive and keeping the energy and frequency in the body going so that the cancer heals. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a superpower that most people don't always give time and patience towards, is the frequency that we put out into the world. If we want to complain about this, complain about that, if we want to be negative about that, and don't get me wrong, man, I'm not trying to be a prophet of that. Because I know myself, I can get down, I can be negative, I can be, not as great energetic as I want to be, right? Somebody says something to me, I don't feel great about it. It's human, it's the human experience. But,
totally
where you say tomorrow's a new day, right? The next 5 minutes is the next 5 minutes, right? And that's a new 5 minutes too. And we always have that ability, that option to bounce back, even if we get in the low spot. Sometimes I have to find myself out of the low spot a lot of times in a day alone, right? In an hour maybe here and there, right? It bounces all around. But knowing that energy, that frequency, that vibration that we put out into the world is super important, super powerful, is sometimes all the knowledge and education that we need in order to hopefully keep moving forward in the right direction for ourselves and everyone we love.
Yeah, and if you find, not just you, but if your listeners find themselves having a hard time with the internal dialogue in their head, just breathing and practicing being present in the moment and asking for help. Not in the space of you're a victim, or you need someone to pick you up and carry you, but to say, hey, look, I just need a moment. The noise, the track in my brain is running out of control here. I just need a moment just to collect my thoughts and just be in my space so I can calm my nervous system.
Yeah.
So that I can regulate and bring that prefrontal cortex back online. And remember that, like I said, you said, tomorrow's a new day. Today is just focused on today. You don't need to have that drink today. Just do it for today. You don't need to have that toke, that drug, that line, whatever it is, that, addictive behavior. You don't need that today. Just for today.
Yeah.
Just stop for today. Tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah.
And then just do that every single day. And then reach out for the support that you need. And maybe you've burned a lot of bridges. Maybe you've pushed everybody away. There's resources and support out there. Let go of the internal fear and hurt and start to understand that all that's driving you, from fear-based is an old conversation.
Yeah.
Let people know that you're hurting. Let people know that you need some love and compassion so that you can move through this, so that you can recover and thrive.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's beautiful, John. I think we just hit an hour mark. I think that is probably a great place to leave things, my man.
Yeah, it's a great conversation.
Don't get me wrong. I think we could keep going for a few hours, but I know you have family, you have work to get to. I got the same, of course. And so I don't want to I always want to be cognizant of other people's times for sure. And hour seems to be a really good time spot, even though, like I said, we could go for hours, brother, truly. And what, I look forward to us doing this again and us having another conversation about maybe a whole different aspect of life. And I know that's going to be a great conversation as well.
Dude, I agree. I look forward to the next one. I look forward to us being on stage together, delivering a road safety presentation, you talking from the driver's standpoint, me talking from the survivor standpoint.
Oh, brother. Well, you put it out into the universe, my man. Yeah. So I think that's going to happen.
Could you imagine the energy and the impact of that presentation?
Well, John, we'll work on it. That's a promise. We'll work on it.
Brother.
All right, my man. John, thank you so much for your time, your intellect, your patience, your humor, your emotional regulation, all of the beautiful things that you had to offer anybody who's going to listen to this. I really appreciate you, John, truly. And honestly, when I messaged you yesterday, I was like, you know what? I've been looking forward to having this conversation. Didn't know why, but now I know why, John, because this was an incredible time together, brother. And so, totally. John, I would like to maybe end off with, if folks are looking for you, if they want to get a hold of you, if somebody is looking for a speaker about roadside safety or corporate world, schools, whatever it is, where can people find you, John? And I'll make sure to put that information on the show notes as well.
Yeah, so they can find me, johnwesthaver.com. They can also look at my names on the screen here.
Look at that.
Check that out. You can also, I think you even have an overlay here too, but that's fine. Go to johnwesthaver.com. Find me on LinkedIn, Facebook. LinkedIn is a great resource as well. If you're looking to bring me into your organization, your company, I don't just talk on road safety. I don't just talk on safety. I talk on resiliency. I talk on mental health and well-being. I use my framework that I've created. It's not unique to me. It's just how I've packaged it so that I can teach you how to think differently to move through whatever you're dealing with, so that you can grow and thrive.
Well, beautiful, brother. I think that's fantastic. And if anyone's listening to this, well, which people will be, because we've had some good fortune, good love and support with this show, make sure you look up John. He's got a lot to offer this world. So thank you again, John. And for those who are listening, thank you for two of the most precious resources another human being can give to another human being. That's your time, that's your energy. And me and John both appreciate all the time that you guys have shared with us for the last hour and 4 minutes here. And if you grab some value, if you grab some insight from this episode together, please share with a friend, share with a family member. help this episode get heard, seen by others, so others can hopefully grab the value that you also grabbed from this episode. Once again, John, thank you very much, brother. I look forward to chatting with you again soon. And for all those who are listening, supporting the show, thank you. Nothing but love and appreciation. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.